Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're delving into the track Blackhole by the British metalcore band Architects. This is the fourth track to be released from their upcoming 11th studio album titled The Sky, The Earth and All Between, which is due to be released on the 28th of February, not long to go to get to hear it in its entirety. It was 2023 when we got our first taste of this album with Seeing Red, with Sam Carter coming back with a vengeance, really just making a song that almost mocked the people that had said that their worst music had been their most recent albums, where they'd gone a bit soft. They'd kind of cut some of that sharpness out of their music on albums such as the classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit and For Those That Wish to Exist, and he came back angry and he really showed it with the idea of people liking him when he's seeing red. He's almost like a Hulk. Everyone likes him though when he is angry, and they've certainly showed that with some of the other tracks they have released in the form of Curse and Whiplash. Will this latest track, however, be supermassive or simply leave them in the dark? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds. Okay, we are definitely seeing the return of a very heavy Architects. This is probably one of the most ferocious tracks they have released in quite some time. This definitely irks back to some of their earlier work. We did see albums such as Daybreaker in 2012, and I am loving the fact that we're really seeing the more aggressive side of Sam Carter really coming out in bucket loads with some of these recent tracks, and this is definitely taking it to another level. This is something a lot of old-time fans are going to absolutely lose their mind over, because it really just brings that chunkiness back. But one thing I've got to really appreciate about this track is just that switch up from these chunky riffs that are really coming in that pre-chorus and then switching into the more melodic chorus. It's such a flawless transition that's pulled off so very well. When you go from mixing those two sounds and styles, you've got to be so careful, because sometimes it can feel like a really jarring transition, and with this track you really see how they just ebb and flow in and out of it so smoothly, and that's definitely something that is very difficult to pull off, and certainly do as well as they do on this track. I really did enjoy that transition into it, and also some of the wiry backing sounds we've really got. It gives it that very apocalyptical feel, very much in line with the actual video that we do see, and the title of the track as well, Blackhole. Just this absorption of all the positivity, of all the good things. We're really seeing the band's aggression really come out, and well, whilst a lot of their music does like to focus on mental health and also world issues, we're really seeing that this track can combine the two. It can focus on either side of that, the idea of a black hole in your head or a black hole in the world that is really just absorbing all the goodness, all the positivity out of something. We get it straight away with that intro. Is there nothing but the cold at the center of a black hole? So that could be the black hole in your mind. It could just be the fact that there's so much negativity going around in the world at the moment that it's kind of hard to find those positive stories that are really intertwined between. And just moving to that first verse, the signal fire is going to burn out through the sirens and the flares. So the idea of emergency sirens, things basically basically going to crap. The idea of this apocalyptical things like tornadoes, wildfires, we're seeing it in the world at the moment. I was swallowed by the storm clouds, hailstones on a glass house. So you can really see the impact of it just smashing down on this glass ceiling. How much pressure can we put on it before it eventually does break? And I love this next line as well. There were diamonds in the air. And I've got to presume that's all about the idea of pressure building. We're kind of heating this critical mass almost to the point where there's so much pressure in the air, so much fear and things like that, that's allowing the air to press diamonds effectively. Or it could just be kind of focus on the kind of size of hailstones, things like that. So there's different ways you can really interpret it. But the next line, and the oxygen left my chest. So almost the pressure that's being put onto somebody where it's forcing the air out of their lungs. So I really love some of these ideas they're really bringing through with this very apocalyptical idea that really seems to be getting focused on. Then as we continue into that pre-chorus, lost souls trapped beneath this ceiling, earthquakes, the idea of kind of people kind of that have never been found because there's been earthquakes, buildings put on top of them. It's figure 8 till the ghosts have been laid to rest. And this definitely feels like a reference to the idea of war, the idea that war never ends. The kind of people that die through war can't be truly laid to rest until that war stops. But it's that figure 8, that infinity symbol, that it just doesn't, the bleeding never stops. Pull it tight, try to stop this bleeding. So almost when somebody gets a wound in war where they've kind of got to put a tourniquet on it or something like that, stampede as the horrors run through my head. So they're having that very negative mind space because of all the darkness that's going on in the world. So many ideas really being driven into this track, and that very aggressive delivery of Sam Carter really helps to bring across this aggression, the idea that he is fed up with the way that the world is at the moment. And as we move into that chorus, even more lines that really show that death stared and I died 1,000 times. And I feel like this is switching into more of a mental image that we do have, the idea where you kind of play out in your mind ways that the world could end or ways that you may die, things like that. It's a natural instinct that you try and put to the back of your mind because you just got to live life whilst you can. Nightmares left a riot in my mind. So he's kind of almost living these nightmares of what if the world ends tomorrow? What if this happens? What if I die this way? And it's just playing over and over and staring him in the face each time. Is today so hollow if there were no tomorrow? I love that little kind of inquisitive questioning style of that lyric as well. That is today really so bad when tomorrow may not exist? So ultimately you can always kind of make things better, but ultimately it's just really focusing on the more negative space of the world. Midnight we cut the power lines, no light but the fire in my eyes. So that aggression really coming through just through some of this metaphoric language we're really getting from Sam Carter. And then heading into the second verse, sick of living with the pain now, someone take me for repair. So this can go back to the mental aspect that the band have focused on with some of their music, the idea that you kind of need to be fixed, you need to be cured, something like that. There's a bitter taste in my mouth, in the silence there was ill health, maybe life just isn't fair, maybe I'm just fucking self-obsessed. So you can really see those expletives as well being used to really drive this idea forward alongside the music to really give this track its all-out aggression.
Shut down, so scary through an unknown universe. No service for the faithless, everything turns out descend 30,000 times. Nightmares left a riot in my mind. Is the day so hollow if there were no tomorrow? Midnight, we cut the power lines. No light but the fire in my eyes.
Well, what a wild ride that certainly was. Definitely seeing Architects return to their most aggressive, really taking it up a notch, and we get a guitar solo from Adam Christensen. That was not on my bucket list for 2025 Architects, but I am so glad to see it. There is so much going on in this track that there really is. Just bringing in the clean vocals, mixing in that hard, very rough aggression, and really seeing the band coming back to doing certainly what they do best, and many will agree with that, but just throwing in some of these extra musical elements that's really, really nice to see them continue mixing things up and trying new things even when they're 11 albums deep. I love the idea of bringing the breakdown and the guitar solo to accompany with the actual idea of the bridge, and just some of those more of those lyrics towards the end of the track. Heaven to earth, God only knows if we're here in spirit, chapter and verse, there's nowhere to go when the sky's the limit. So linking back to the actual title of the album, and also linking in with some of their other albums as well. All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us. It feels like a little bit of a link back to that kind of mid-2010 scene when we'd had Holy Hell as well as Lost Forever, Lost Together, and some of those albums around that time. Really linking in the lyrical content by bringing the idea of will God intervene, those sorts of ideas. And we kind of see the big hand at the end of the video kind of leaning in as well. I think that's actually kind of linking to the album cover, but really just showing some heavy power and heavy aggression, just turning that dial right up to 11, potentially higher than that towards the end of the track. And just this constant idea coming through of the diamonds in the air. Is there anybody there? So that call for help, that signal call to the signal flares, trying to hope that there's some kind of rescue plan in place to fix things from completely going down the toilet, from just this black hole appearing and just swallowing everything whole, the almost apocalyptic destruction of the world, or the destruction of yourself ultimately, with the negativity that can build up and lead you to this kind of quite visceral end. So lots of ideas really being thrown into this track, and I love the idea of a black hole, just something that absorbs all light, all positivity. It really fits in with the theme of the aggression and just the way that Sam Carter really is bringing it across. And I think he did say in an interview that he's one of the vocalists that really just brings that aggression across, because he sounds like he is genuinely absolutely pissed off with absolutely everything that's going on, and that really comes across in the music. But what an absolute blast this track is. Definitely my favourite of the four that we have heard so far, and I am loving some of the extra elements they're really throwing into this track. So there we have it, Architects certainly leaving us in complete darkness, casting a shadow over our ears with this latest track and the pure aggression that it does bring. But I would love to know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below. How do you feel it lives up to the other three that we have heard previously from this upcoming 11th studio album? Really would love to see your thoughts. Or if you feel that there's any other hidden messages that I did miss out on, then feel free to let me know. I'm also really curious to see how much impact Jordan Fish did have. I believe he was the producer for this track and has done every single song on the album apart from Seeing Red, so it'd be interesting to see exactly the impact that he has had. But I get a feeling he's definitely the one maybe helping take this album to the next level, and I am really excited to see, because I think this definitely could be a contender potentially very early for album of the year given the tracks that we have heard so far. Also, if you would like to see more Architects content, I've covered some of their other tracks in previous videos, which you can find the link to in the description of this one. And if you'd like to see more content like this overall, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.